Good day guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Ran. Today we are going to watch the webinar about problem solving and decision making presented by EDM317 Students Section B with the guidance of our very own Dr. Alfredo Aquino from PSU, Pangasinan University, Philippines. So without much ado, I'd like to invite you to join us in watching this very important webinar. So let's do and watch this video.
Okay, so good afternoon everyone. We're here again today to join our webinar. So let us start. So problem solving and decision making go hand in hand. These two elements play a vital role in the success of any organization. Thus, as future administrators, it is now high time that we educate ourselves on these things. So without further ado, welcome to our webinar entitled Evidence-Based Problem Solving and Decision Making Using Management Information Systems, with the theme Bridging the Gap Between Problem and Solution Through Management Information Systems. At this juncture, let us put ourselves in the presence of our Almighty through a prayer to be followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem, Region 1 Hymn, and Pangasinan, ASEAN Hymn, Region 1 Hymn, Pangasinan Hymn, and PSU Hymn. Wait lang po, ang dami nagpapapaan.
Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help as we gather together. For each mind and heart that feels the presence of this virtual meeting, we thank you. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give us a desire to find ways to excel in our work. Only you truly know what we are setting out to accomplish today. We have an idea, a vision, hints, and daily instructions. We have talents, abilities, and time to work. However, only you can see in perfect detail the end of every beginning. Every project, every season, every life. Nothing is ever in vain, for even mistakes and missteps are used for good. Your righteousness transcends all our efforts and understanding. Forgive us for our pride, the pride that puffs us up, and the pride that threatens to unqualify us. Strengthen our confidence in who you have made us to be. Set us free from comparison in order to work together efficiently. Bless each and every one of us, as well as the lives of those we will encounter afterward. Ready us to make every moment count. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
free. It's all about our weather. Everyone will never be. The place I see. Come on, hurry, come on. Come by far. I wonder, just search for wealth and fame. In my heart I will remember the dawn of my name. Regional, where lies I wonder as I search for wealth and fame. In my heart I will remember she won and loved me. Katandayomi Pangasinan Pinangli Iyan luwas Ng kukulawas Sa Pangasinan Pangalinig Ihakas Mas Baloy Gimapula Sentimo Pangasinan Kadlintan lang Antayan Mastanahan Itanduro Pangasinan Aron Kata Pangasinan Uyag ni Tanyaman In your prestigious name, in banner we will hold high, guide us evermore. Research, extension, possession, to serve the United University. Your fame ensures true knowledge. PSU, we love you. Oh, PSU, University.
Alright, so at this juncture, let us lend our ears to the father of PSU Open University Systems and our professor in EDM317 Management Communication Systems. Let us welcome Dr. Alfredo F. Aquino.
Good afternoon, my students. Very capable, intelligent, and very eager to learn people, not only based in the Philippines, but also those based in Thailand, and another one based in the United States. This is a second sequel or a second phase of our webinar, which is on problem solving and decision making with the use of management information systems or just plain information systems. You will realize that we have gone far as far as science and technology is concerned and how it applies to management and also your teaching. Now that you are managers, you are going to undergo some kind of learning such that you are going to be equipped with your knowledge and skills in using information systems for your effective problem solving and decision making in the school systems. In fact, it's not only in the school systems that you are going to apply this. Maybe you are going to apply this in other areas. That's why just this moment I was thinking of expanding our activities, not that such that it will not only end, it will not just end like this after the semester. I'm just throwing the idea that we are going to establish a corporation. I'm dreaming of establishing a corporation, which is a knowledge corporation, in which we are going to just supply the services for training and development of managers and leaders, and that we can do it through virtual delivery, and that speakers may come from Thailand, they may come from US, and they may come from the Philippines. That if we are going to organize this, okay, it will be just a little profit organization, but mostly maybe it will be for the service, for helping other people, for helping organizations build their people. We also build the organization, okay, through development and education. Okay, maybe after this week we can discuss that in another time. And so with this, my dear students, I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy that you have shown your talent, you have shown your potentials, and that these potentials are now coming out, that you are really leaders not only leaders, but we will build you. We will build you together as leader of leaders. So thank you again, my dear students. Let us begin the webinar.
Thank you very much, sir, for such inspiring and warm welcome. So before we start our webinar, let us be reminded first with our house rules. So number 1, please mute your microphone when the speaker is talking. Second, you are required to open your cameras the entire session. Third, questions and clarifications will be entertained after all the sessions. Kindly type your questions in the chat box. Number 4, respect the speaker by listening attentively. And lastly, let us stay focused. So, to begin with, let me introduce to you our first speaker. So our first speaker started teaching in 2008 at Ayusan Puawa Elementary School in Bigan City. Then she was transferred to Lingayen 1 District Schools Division Office, Pangasinan 1. At first, she is a teacher 3 in Lingayen 1 Central School and designated as school and district nutrition coordinator and feeding teacher. She is also a winning coach and trainer in the fields of science and mathematics, especially in investigatory projects wherein she competed twice in the national level. She received a first place award as demonstration teacher for the intermediate level Central School category on the 12th Annual Division Recognition Day in Mathematics in SDO1 Pangasinan. A demonstration teacher in the training seminar workshop of Maximizing Knowledge Channel in the classroom. She was also an outstanding canteen teacher in the elementary level when she was in the division of Bigan City. She was the outstanding teacher in mathematics during the Araw ng Parangal at Pasasalamat of Schools Division 1 Pangasinan. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our first speaker, Ma'am Mary Jane D. Canila. Ma'am Mary Jane.
Hello, Mabel. Thank you for that very warm and kind introduction. Again, good afternoon, sir, and to my classmates in Section A and Section B, good afternoon po sa inyo. I am tasked to discuss all about problem solving and decision making as an important aspects of management. So let's start by defining what is a problem. So what is a problem? A problem could be an issue or a matter you want to understand. These are existing educational problems that you are seeking to solve. These are situations that we want to improve. Problems are areas where some conceptual clarity is needed, and these are situations in which the researcher is trying to answer a research questions empirically. Actually, there are 4 types of problems when encountering. These are simple problems, complicated problems, complex, and chaotic problems. And we can see that problems come and go. It may occur in our house, in our workplace, or in our environment. There are a lot of examples of problems. With this pandemic that we are facing right now, we always ask ourselves how can we stop the spread of the virus? Our country is also facing economic problems. We teachers have problems with the behaviors of our students. Sometimes we encounter financial problems and even heart problems, isn't it? Next one, Ethel. So I have here a picture of a blind man and an elephant. Actually, this is an idiom, and the story comes from India. It is about a range of truths and mistakes and the need for respect, the need for respect for different perspectives. The blind man here misjudged the elephant as something based only on their perspective. Just like problems, they are often perceived differently by different people. Next po. So, what is a problem solving? They say that problems can be elusive. They are hard to describe or grasp. They are very unique or related to emotions. In such cases, a dedicated tools need to be utilized and a systematic approach should be conducted where the usual way of thinking is simply not enough. Problem solving is the core of human evolution. It is the method we use to understand what is happening in our environment, identify things we want to change, and then figure out the things that need to be done or to create the desired outcome. It is the source of all new inventions, social and cultural evolution, and the basis for market-based economies. It is the basis for continuous improvement, communication, and learning. Problem solving is also an analytical process used to identify the possible solutions to the situation at hand. In short, problem solving means making choices. It is important to both individuals and organizations because it enables us to exert control over our environment. We are natural problem solvers. We love challenge, and without them, we don't grow and mature fully. Typically, effective problem-solving skills results in a happier, more confident, and more independent individuals. When children tackle problems on their own or in a group, they become resilient. They learn to look at challenges from a fresh perspective. So solving problems improve performance. It helps us understand relationships and implement the changes and improvement needed to compete and survive in a continually changing environment. Problem solving isn't just about responding to and fixing the environment that exists today. It is also about innovating, creating new things, and creating the environment to be more desirable. Problem-solving skills and the problem-solving process are a critical part of daily life, both as individuals and organizations. Developing and refining these skills through training, practice, and learning can provide the ability to solve problems more effectively and over time address problems with a greater degree of complexity and difficulty. So we have here a problem-solving cycle. The first one is identifying the problem, then understanding the problem, or the next one is organizing the information, then allocating resources, monitor, and then checking and evaluation. The first step in the problem solving is to identify the problem. So this is clearly identifying the root cause of the problem. Next is understanding the problem. So let's be sure that it's clear, you know the issue, and you know what is the problem. Then next, organize the information. So those information should be organized in a way that it is easy to find, which is helpful in the solution of a given problem. Then allocate resources. By allocating resources, we can prioritize tasks or problems that we want to solve and execute them based on their priorities. Then we have constant monitoring, values. So we must use the steps wisely and always focus on clearly fulfilling the problem with a solution. Okay, we have here a picture saying that running away from any problem only increases the distance from the solution. The easiest way to escape from the problem is to solve it. Do you agree with it? Yes, this is very true. Every problem is a new challenge that one has to take. You should face it with all your strength and maybe from your family and friend support. Sabi nga natin sa wikang Pilipino, huwag mong problemahin ang problema, ang problemahin mo ay kung paano mo susolusyonan ang problema. So, before we define the problem of define decision making, let's define first what is a decision. This decision is a choice made from among alternatives. So, there are two types of decisions. These are program decisions and non-program decisions. When we speak of program decisions, these are repetitive and routine decisions. An example of this is reordering office supplies. Okay, this is a routine and repetitive process wherein a manager follows certain rules and guidelines. The next type of decision is non-program decisions. These are decisions that occur under non-routine, unfamiliar circumstances. This responds to unusual, unpredictable opportunities and threats under conditions of uncertainty. Maybe an example here is whether you are going to include to acquire another organization or deciding which global market offers the most potential. So let's define now what is decision making. Decision making is an act of making up your mind about something. It is a position or opinion or judgment reached after consideration. Decision making is also defined as a part of the problem-solving process. It is a choice made by using one's judgment. The art of making sound decision is particularly important skill for leaders and managers. You may need to make numerous decisions as part of the problem-solving process. And of course, leaders and managers will need to use their decision-making skills to determine which solution to pursue. They will also typically need to confirm and set into motion next steps to fix the problem. So we have here the processes of decision making. We have planning, directing, leading, controlling, and organizing. Let's have the first one, which is planning. Planning is decision making. It involves selecting mission and objectives. In planning, we need to consider the past, the current, and the future. Without the goals and objectives, we don't already have direction. We must have an open communication in planning. Gather important information, but be able to sort, classify, and rank those informations which we need in planning. Remember the SMART. Okay? S stands for specific, M for measurable, A for attainable, R for resource-oriented or realistic, and T for time-bounded. Let's have directing. This is said to be a process in which managers instruct, guide, and oversee the performance of workers to achieve predetermined goals. Directing is said to be the the heart of management process. Without it, the other process have no importance. Leading leads with a well-developed decision-making ability will make quality informed choices from a number of options. Controlling. This consists of activities like measuring the performance, comparing with existing standards, and finding deviations, and correcting deviations. While in organizing, this is the function that the managers undertake to design, structure, and arrange the components of an organization, internal environment to facilitate the attainment of organizational goals. Using a step-by-step decision-making process will help us make more deliberate, thoughtful decisions by organizing relevant informations and defining alternatives. Let us also put in mind that emotions can affect not just the nature of the decisions, but the speed at which you make it. If you are excited, you might make quick decisions without considering the implications. If you are angry, this may lead to impatience and rash decision making. While if you are afraid, your decisions may be clouded by uncertainty and caution, and it might take you longer to choose. So we have here similarities between problem solving and decision making, and that is both are involved in critical thinking. When we say critical thinking, this is a process by which you question your own assumption as well as those of others in order to decide what steps are you going to do to solve a problem. We also have the key difference between problem solving and decision making. That is, solving problem is a process. It consists of sequence of sections that fit together depending on the problem to be solved. Whereas making decisions is an action based on insights derived during the problem solving practice. How are we going to use decision making in solving problems? It all boils down to one thing. When faced with a challenge, break the problem down into manageable components that require decisions to be made. Problem solving and decision making goes hand in hand. They belong together. So as you can see in the diagram, okay, they belong together. You cannot solve a problem without making a decision. So practicing them effectively will increase your potential to advance. They are important skills for leaders to have. Okay, lastly, according to Chodorowski, in any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing. And the worst thing you can do is nothing. And do not put a band-aid on the problem. Instead, solve the root of the problem. Okay, that brings us to the end of my presentation. Thank you, classmates, for listening.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Mary Jane, for that very comprehensive briefer of our webinar for today. So before we proceed to our next speaker, let us have some short icebreaker to be facilitated by Sir Vincent Pasqua, Teacher 1 of Vergas Elementary School, Santa Ignacia South District, Division of Tarlac Province. Sir Vincent,
Yes, Samantha, thank you. Good afternoon, classmates. How are you doing?
Hi, sir.
I
Fine.
know that you are now filled of information information, so let's break some ice and challenge our minds through riddles and puzzles. So without further ado, these are the mechanics for a short brain teaser. First, I will read some brain teasers, riddles, and some mental activities. Then you will try to guess them in 10 seconds, 5 seconds rather. So just type your answer in the chat box, and the first to get the correct answer will be the winner. Also, your prize will be 20 pesos cell phone load courtesy of Ma'am Helen Aki. Okay, so is everything all right, clear, classmates?
Yes, go ahead, bro.
I know you're ready. Yeah. Okay, so let's get started. Remember, 20 pesos load awaits to those who will get the correct answer. So, Ma'am Ethel, can you show us now the first question? Okay, so yes, it's a brain teaser. Any wild guess from the group? Okay. Ma'am Rubella Fernandez got the correct answer. The correct answer is one dot. No, hole in a one.
Hole in one.
Yeah, hole in a one, sir.
Hole
Davis
in-
Apa, sorry.
Hole in one.
Hole in a one.
Hole in a one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hole in a one. Rubella Fernandez, sorry, Sir Davis Apas, hole in a one. Okay, so next slide, Ma'am Ethel. Okay, that's a tricky. That's tricky one. We have cockroach, bees, beetle, and then bunny. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No one got the right answer. It's Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny. Okay. Ma'am Ethel. Any wild guess? 30 p.m. And then there is a table. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Correct answer is timetable. Okay, Ma'am Frenchie Faluga got the right answer. Got the correct answer. Congratulations, Ma'am Frenchie.
Sir Vincent, Sir Russell, answer first.
Sir Russell.
Sir Russell. Yes.
Sorry po, nagkakaroon po kasi ako ng problema sa chat box ko po. Nag-hang po siya.
Perhaps, Ma'am Ethel, you will be the one to monitor the correct answer.
Ethel.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next.
According to Ma'am
Okay,
Rochelle,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The correct answer is in between steps. Okay, so
it's Ma'am Romela Fernandez.
yes, correct. Congratulations, Ma'am Romela.
It's the last one for this part, Sir Benson.
Okay. Last one.
Banana, according to Ma'am Rochelle. Malapit na po. Between banana, according to Sir Davis. Close.
Banana, winner. So congratulations to all the winners. So that's all for now. Later we will have another brain teaser. So for now, let's listen to another speaker. Enjoy and relax. Back to you, Ma'am Ethel.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Vincent. So, for those who did not get the correct answer for this part, please be ready for the second set of our brain teaser after this session. So, for our next session, let me introduce to you our speaker. So, she is an assistant professor 3 in the Facilitation Institute in Mali, Pangasinan. She was a classroom teacher and a PhD department head at the same time in Binmali Catholic School Incorporated from June 1995 to July 2001. He also served as instructor 1 in TESDA Pangasinan Technological Institute from August 2001 to October 2019. She earned her bachelor's degree in fishery education at Pangasinan State University Binmali campus, cum laude. Our second speaker is a national event trainer wherein she holds NC2 in aquaculture and food processing and NC3 in housekeeping. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our second speaker, Ma'am Helen S. Aquino. Ma'am Helen.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you, Ma'am Ethel, for the competent introduction. So, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to our professor, Dr. Alfredo F. Aquino, and also to our classmates in Section A and Section B. So, after our discussions and presentations about problem solving and decision making, we will now proceed with the next slide, ma'am. We will now proceed with the prerequisite for good decision making and problem solving. So what I have here is a consensus-based decision making. Consensus-based decision making is a process, or it is an effort in which affected parties seek to reach agreement on a course of action to address an issue or set of related issues. It is a creative and dynamic way of reaching agreement between all members of a group. Instead of simply voting for an item and having the majority of the group getting their way, a group using consensus is committed to finding solutions that everyone actively supports or at least can live with. So in this way, the participants will have what is right and not what is popular or who is popular. For example, of this consensus decision making, we will have an agreement. For example, in the use of our MIS, we need to agree on the template or the format of, for example, our trainee's profile. What are the details of that format? And also, we can also have an agreement on even on the language that we need to use for that profile. So that is a consensus decision making. Now, the consensus decision making has 5 significant prerequisites. So we have common goal, commitment to reach a consensus, trust, active participation, and good facilitation. So to define each of these, first we have the common goal. A common goal provides a decision-making group with a rallying point that helps keep teams and organizations moving in the same direction. In addition, decision makers can evaluate whether each individual decision generates progress towards the goal, or at the very least, which potential decision in any decision set will move the needle. In developing our vision and mission, for example, we have to convene and share ideas for a common goal and in the attainment of the development of our institution. Next, we also have the requirement of healthy for the group. So if the group agreed on the actions to be taken, a high commitment in the performance of their job will be achieved. This encourages unity and avoid disagreements. Next slide, please. Next is we also need to build trust. Team members must trust that everyone participating in making a consensus decision have both the same goal and the best interest of the team at heart. There can be no fear that after making a decision, individuals will actively or passively subvert the decision. Throwing members under the bus when a decision is questioned is a trust killer and will make forming consensus in the future nearly impossible. So, as a manager or as the head of the institution, I think you need to trust also the member of the team. You have to trust each and everyone that they could contribute and do decision at the same time. In that way, you are bringing out what's best to them and help them grow professionally. So we have to build trust to our co-members because at the end of the day, it is the name of the institution that matters. Next, please. Next is, of course, an active participation. Active participation in the decision process includes both listening and engagement. Participation helps a team to move toward consensus because it shortens the time it takes to expose and synthesize alternate views. So this active participation will make your decision making easier because you let everyone participate, you let everyone aware on what is happening, and thereby they can avoid a wrong action later on. Next, of course, lastly, I think we have to do also a good facilitation. In this good facilitation, we need to have an effective facilitator that can help guide towards consensus rather than letting the group drift away and towards an answer. As a good facilitator, you should have to check and balance in the sharing of your members' ideas, and you have to arrive, see to it that you're going to arrive in one goal and one clear actions, leading to a good results of your good decision making. So those are the prerequisites for a good decision making. Now let's proceed with problem solving skills. So our first speaker, Madam Mary Jane, already defined what is a problem solving, and now we will have skills in solving a problem. One of the skills a manager should possess is, of course, the skills in problem solving. These are highly requested after by employers as many companies rely on their employees to identify and solve problems. Next slide, please. So these are the key skills in solving problems are creativity, researching skills, team working, and analysis and communication. So in the creativity, this is a way of solving problems or identifying opportunities when conventional thinking has failed. So creative problem solving encourages you to find fresh perspectives and come up with innovative solutions so that you can formulate a plan to overcome an obstacles and reach your goal. One good example here is on how we became creative and on how we embrace this new normal training and teaching mode of delivery. We also have skills in research. Researching is an essential skills related to problem solving. As a problem solver, you need to be able to identify the cause of the issue and understand it fully. You can begin to gather more information or data as a basis of solving the problem. So in these research skills, I think our data and informations in our management information system is our vital vital basis. Then, if we have this data and information, then we could make analysis. So this analysis will make use of the data and make decisions, not by according to our opinions or simply the most. We will use the recent data point. So in this analysis, from our informations in our MIS, then we can analyze the causes or the root of the problem. For example, in management, however, we can make use of the SWOT analysis. So we can identify or we can analyze first our members of the team, what are their strengths, their weaknesses, the threats, and the opportunities that will be awaiting to them. We can also use the PDCA analysis. We have the plan, do, check, and act. So from the first step of, we have to plan first, then we can do what has been planned, and then we can check whether our actions are correct, and if not, then we could act again. Okay? Next is we also have, of course, teamwork. No? As what Sir Davis mentioned a while ago, that they have a team in the management of their information system. So thereby, this is very relevant. Many problems are best defined and solved with the input of other people. Team working may sound like a work team, but it is just as important at home and school as well as in the workplace. And lastly, or we also have next is communication. No? As I have read, as a leader, 95% of your job is communication. So success as a team comes from cooperation, sharing insights and information, collaboration, developing shared ideas, decisiveness, and coordinated actions. That's how important communication is. So after that, the different skills, then we can proceed with the different stages of problem solving. So effective problem solving usually involves working through a number or steps or stages, such as problem identification, of course, the first step. Second is structuring the problem. Third is we will look for the possible solution, then make a decision. Afterwards, we could do some implementation. And then lastly, we need to check or monitor and seek feedback. So for the problem identification, of course, this stage involves detecting and recognizing that there is a problem. So identifying the nature of the problem and defining the problem. So for example, what we have experienced in our test the training management information system is a wrong spelling from the attendance sheet of the trainer and different to the data in our MIS. So as we identified that, next is we structuring the problem. This stage involves a period of observation, careful inspection, fact-finding, and developing a clear picture of the end problem. So for example, in the problem that we have identified, so we will do some observation, careful inspection, and we will find facts. What makes a wrong entry of a wrong spelling or a wrong name in the attendance sheet of the trainer as compared to our data sheets or to our MIS. Then next, we will look for possible solution. So in that problem that we have identified, as we do the fact finding, it was the reason that our data encoder in our MIS make use of the birth certificate of our trainees as a basis in the inputs of the data, while the trainer make use only of the application form or the enrollment form of the trainees. So sometimes there is the problem that arises. Now, looking for possible solution to that, during this stage, you will generate a range of possible courses of action, but with little attempt to evaluate them at this stage. So, what became our possible solution is, of course, to have a standard procedure that to use whether the teacher's attendance sheet and on our data, on our MIS, we have to use the given birth certificate of our trainees. So that's why, yeah, the decision was made. No? This stage involves careful analysis of the different possible courses of action and then selecting the best solution for the implementation. So we have to make use of a proper standard, no, as part of making decision. And then, of course, implementation now. This stage involves accepting and carrying out the chosen course of action. So we have to apply what we have agreed upon in solving the problem. And lastly, we have to monitor and seek feedback. So this is the last stage, which is about reviewing the outcomes of problem solving over a period of time, including seeking feedback as to the success of the outcomes of the chosen solution. So feedbacking is also a part of problem solving so that we could compare later on our courses of actions if we have met again another problem. So let me end this report with the quotation given by our former U.S. Secretary of State, John Foster Dulles. The measure of success is not whether you have a tough problem to deal with, but whether it is the same problem you had last year. So I guess we have to, they said that life is not getting easier, but it is just we get tougher. It's like something like that. So we get to be mature in our life and of course in our profession. So that's all. Thank you for listening and thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Helen. So may we remind our classmates to, if they have questions, you may type them on the chat box and they will be entertained after our dance. So at this point, be ready again for the next set of our brain teaser. So I'm calling again Sir Benson to facilitate our second set of brain teaser. Sir Benson.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Ethel. I'm back with another set of mind exercises. So there is still chance for those who have not yet won. And are you ready? I think they're ready. So the instruction is the same with the previous activity. After each question, you'll have 5 seconds to figure out the answer. So let's get started, Ma'am Ethel. Okay, so this is our first
Generation gap.
generation gap, Ma'am Ethel.
Ma'am Helen.
Sorry.
Alright, that will be a bonus.
Sorry. Naka-on pa pala yung mic ko.
Let's move on to another one.
Yes, let's move on to another one.
That's generation gap.
Okay. That's a challenging one. Okay.
Alright, so we have a winner. It's Ma'am Frenchie. The correct answer is
Yes, dressed chicken.
chicken.
Yeah, congratulations on Frenchie.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Alright, we have a winner, Sir Vincent.
Yeah, Cyril Marco. Congratulations, that is half sister, correct?
Sir.
Sister. Oh, I think that's easy.
So we have a winner. It's very fast. It's Ma'am Angeline.
Yes, congratulations, Ma'am Angeline.
Overtime.
Time.
Okay, the fifth one and the last one, Sir Vincent.
Yes, okay. So Yes. Okay, so Ma'am Ethel, so that's all. Thank you for your participation. I hope that you enjoyed our brain teaser. So back to you, Ma'am Ethel. For the way to the winners, you can claim your prize. Ma'am Ethel, just send us your cell phone number. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Sir Benson. Okay, let us proceed to the last session of our webinar today. Let me introduce to you our third speaker. So our third speaker is the head teacher 3 of the English Department of Speaker Eugenio Perez National Agricultural School, Division of San Carlos City. She is also the school paper consultant, the editor-in-chief of the division newsletter. Our speaker was once the OIC Senior High School Assistant Principal for Academics from school year to 2018-2019. She was also the president of the Division Association of Secondary School Paper Advisors, school year 2015-2016, and was the vice president for Faculty and Employees Club. She also has attended different trainings. She was once a delegate of Guro 21 Course 1, Lead Excels, and Tech on Teach by Simeo Inutay. She has also attended executive courses in remote teaching and learning by the University of the Philippines Open University. She also attended online courses by Microsoft Education Center, International Educational Management and Leadership Training Series by Southeast Asia Institute of Educational Training Incorporated. Another training she attended was the International Training of Executive Leaders Towards Good Governance, Avoiding Dysfunctional Workplace. And she was also a delegate in the Supervisory Development Course Training Tracks 1 to 3. Our speaker was also a Region 1 representative to the National Online Writing Shop relative to primals with focus on reading in the content areas, literacy and learning across the curriculum. She was also the division representative to the regional training on the use of supplementary reading materials, a regional facilitator of the K-12 curriculum series of training, school and division training facilitator, and a provincial and regional champion in essay writing contest during the 2017 National Statistics Month celebration. Now let us welcome our third speaker, Ma'am Evelyn L. Mendoza. Ma'am Evelyn.
So thank you so much, Ma'am Ethel, for the introduction. So my slide is, my presentation is all about evidence-based problem solving and decision making using management information systems. So just like what our first speaker mentioned a while ago, problems have always been a part of our lives. They could be simple, complex, and she even made use of the word chaotic. So these particular characteristics of problems, we can consider them as it can be, they can appear or they can come to us in various forms, in various intensity, whether it is simple or complex or serious or chaotic, and also in different magnitude, the scope of the problem. So moving to the next slide, we can say that problems can be solved using evidences. That is why we have the term evidence-based problem solving. And these are the following, or these are the characteristics of this particular type of problem solving. The first one, it represents an integrative approach to the application of scientific principles across the natural, behavioral, and social sciences. Another one, it examines interactions between factors and brings together a range of disciplines. And the last, it can provide a basis for synthesis in advanced accomplishment across general and specialized studies demonstrated through the application of knowledge, skill, and responsibilities to new settings and complex problems. So we can say that this type of problem solving is commonly evident in the field
all know that whenever there is a new type of, let's say, disease that comes out, our scientists, our researchers are always in a race to find or formulate the best cure for such kind of illness. So before they can come up with the best solution, of course they have to gather data that they can use. They have to experiment, and of course they have to analyze the data. They have to interpret the results of those particular processes that they have undergone in order for them to come up with recommendations as to how the problem will be solved. Now, those data, the information that they gathered, as well as the processes, the procedure or processes or procedures that they have undergone, this will now serve as their evidences, along with the observations along the way, as well as if ever there are certain problems that cropped up during the implementation of their, let's say, course of action, then they have also to evaluate, they have to analyze how they are going to, let's say, address that particular concern. Okay. So moving to the next slide, we have here the 5 phases in evidence-based problem solving. So it is an iterative process, meaning each successive cycle builds on the previous cycle. If you can still recall, our first speaker mentioned a while ago that problem solving has stages. Actually, she mentioned 7. The first one is identifying the problem, followed by understanding it, then organizing the information, allocating resources. We have also constant monitoring, checking, and evaluation. Now in here, in this particular figure, this is applicable to the field of medicine, in which first the problem is being identified. So let us imagine, let us assume that a certain or a particular disease came out. Okay, so our researchers, our scientists, our health managers, of course, they have to identify it. They have to identify the problem. Next to that, they have to look into its etiology. When we say etiology, this refers to what caused or what causes the particular illness or disease. And then afterwards, after careful analysis, study, they will come up now with recommendations. And then from these recommendations, they have to, of course, when I say recommendations, there will be several. And they have to choose from among those recommendations as to what particular course of action they're going to implement. Then we now come to implementation. And then after implementation, of course, there will be evaluation. So that is evidence-based problem. Okay. Next to this particular kind of phases of problem solving, we also have what we call evidence-based decision making. So whenever we solve a problem, of course, we have to make a certain decision. And how are we going to do that? We have to make our decision based also on evidences. And we can say that it is making better decisions, informing action that has the desired impact. So we have the term informed decision. In other words, we make a decision based on the information that are available, and this information are carefully studied or analyzed. And evidence-based decision making also is based on
solving. We cannot solve a problem without making a particular decision. So let's have a concrete example for that. Just like in our place, in our school, there were several times that the school's division superintendent visited our school, and she always mentioned this problem regarding the school edification, school improvement, something like that. And she even mentioned that our school cannot stand up to its name being an agricultural school. Because when you say agricultural school, it is supposed to be green, something like that, clean and green. So with that particular problem, being a department head in our school, I conceptualized a particular project, and we can see here how communications or how communications being managed. So first, I drafted a proposal addressed to the school's division superintendent through our school head or school principal, in which I stated there the rationale why a particular program will be launched, and it came in two phases. First, I proposed this particular project adopt, ADOPT, adopt. So I termed it as adopt, referring to act of donating ornamental plants to beautify the school. Because the main problem is, especially during the pandemic, there is no face-to-face class interaction. There are no students who will help in the maintenance of the garden, something like that. During the lockdown, the nationwide lockdown, most of the plants in the garden wilted, and most of them even died, so they have to be replaced. Now, in my proposal, I stated there that since the students cannot go to school to help in the maintenance and in the beautification of their school gardens, their part now is to donate a plant or two in order to be placed or in order to be planted in those gardens. And then those plants will be brought to the school by the parents during the distribution of learning modules, because they have to come to the school weekly. Okay, so next to the project adopt, if we already have the plans available, I again propose another project, which is project care. And it stands for concerted action to restore the environment, of course, because we have to restore, we have to make the school gardens beautiful again. So we have the term restore. So I had the letter, I drafted it together with the proposal, and then it was endorsed by our school principal and the school's division superintendent. Now, in the second program, the second project here, concerted action to restore the environment, the teachers are the ones who will plant the ornamental plants in the gardens. And you know that during these times, the teachers are not allowed, or they are discouraged to stay at home.